Alrighty guys, welcome back to Campuga. I'm so excited for you to be here. Super excited for those winners who won those baskets. We have 5 winners who have been announced in the previous video. Please watch that video so you see if you won. We got 5 winners. Please reach out to me. Remember, if you do not have kiddos and you want a basket, either invite somebody else and give them that basket and say join Campuga, or have somebody in your family member or friend, somebody close to you, even your kiddos who are not joining in on Campuga. Use those tools to join in on Campuga, and you can join in on all the fun. If you haven't been already part of a Campuga, I'm pretty much sure you have if you've already joined and watching this video. You know that we are going to be doing a worldwide cooking series. So this month we are doing Mexico, and then up until December of 2021, we will be visiting different countries around the world and different recipes that they carry to try something new and different. So it's going to be really exciting. Throughout the whole year, we might alter here and there as we go, just for certain holidays that we might want to touch base on. But just know that I have planned out up until July right now. So it's pretty set in stone what we're going to be doing, but I will be sharing with you little by little what we're doing so you can get those recipes. A lot of these ingredients are found here locally if you're from El Paso, and hopefully you can find it in your hometown as well. That way you can go ahead and get those done. So today we'll be doing Mexican flan. As you know, in January we are doing Mexico. I will give you a little sneak peek. If you are doing this video next week, we will be doing tortillas, so that'll be really exciting. And I'll shoot out that flyer for next week so you can get ready to make some tortillas. This week we are doing Mexican flan. It's a really simple recipe. Anybody should be able to do it at home. I found the easier way of doing it instead of actually making like the custard and all of that from even more from scratch, I would say, because that takes a little bit of time and tempering and all those things. But hopefully by the time at the end of the year, you'll know what tempering is and curdling your eggs and things like that, you'll know, so we can actually get that started. There's a lot planned for Campuga in the future, and I can't wait for you guys to join in. Not just virtually, but hopefully, fingers crossed, someday we can also do Campuga in person. That is the goal. So again, I'm going to go over my ingredients as always. We have a bowl here. I have a hand mixer that I'm going to be using. Again, those of you who won, you guys will be getting a hand mixer, which is super cool. I do have a can opener because I will be using 2 cans of evaporated milk and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk lechera. I have 6 eggs here, whole eggs. I'm going to be using 1 teaspoon or I think it's 1 teaspoon or tablespoon of vanilla extract. I have half a cup of sugar here, and then I have a full cup of sugar on the stove that will be melting down to make into the caramel. And then I also have my, what would you call these? I can't think. Oh my God, I'm going crazy. Little dishes here that we're gonna be making our flan in. You can use actually a cake dish. You can do it as a whole. You don't have to do individual ones like this. You can do a 6-inch cake pan. You can do it in there. I also have a sheet pan in the oven filled halfway with water. We're gonna wanna set our ovens at 350 degrees to preheat. I already have my water in there so it can kind of get started. You can do that, or you can do it at the moment, however you feel like doing. I will show you both ways on how to do that. That way you can get started. It does take about 45 minutes in the oven just so that it can kind of come together. Know that we, as always, something we stick into the oven, we end there, and then we post pictures on what you look like afterwards. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna bring you over. It's gonna get a little wobbly. I'm gonna bring you over to the stove, show you what we're gonna do there, and then we'll make that caramel and then move forward on to the next step. So let me grab the camera. Let's move over to the stove, and then we'll go ahead and get started on that first step. Alrighty, so here we are at the stove. What I have here is I have a basic sheet or a basic pan. I would call this a saute pan, and I have a cup of sugar on my stove top here. What I'm going to add to this is, because I don't want to make just a simple hard caramel. That hard caramel would be when you cook this sugar right on the stove. You throw some butter in there and you get a creamy caramel sauce. I want a liquefied caramel sauce. That way it lasts a little bit longer, and that way it doesn't cook fully. But when I pour it into my dishes or into my cake pan, it doesn't instantly harden. We're going for a liquefied caramel, not a milky caramel. So I'm gonna go ahead, what I'm gonna do is, this is 1 cup of sugar. I'm gonna turn my stove on. I'm gonna put it probably about a 7 or 6. And I'm gonna put that, and what I'm gonna add to this, I'm gonna add 5 tablespoons of water to make this a liquefied caramel. So let me go ahead and grab that. So I'm gonna go ahead and add, I have a cup here with water. I'm gonna add 5 tablespoons of water. That's all you're gonna want. I'm gonna set this aside. Now what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna wet all of your sugar in your pan. You're not gonna want to mix it with the spoon. You're gonna want to incorporate it all in the pan here on its own. The reason you don't wanna use a spoon is because if you start using a spoon, you're gonna create sugar crystals. We don't want sugar crystals here. The more you cook sugar crystals, the faster your sugar is going to burn. So if you saw just that water itself, the 5 tablespoons liquefied my sugar, and I'm gonna just use my handle here to move my pan around like this and let it heat up. So you're gonna be looking for an amber color. And amber is like a golden color. You're gonna look for like a burnt amber color. So it's like a golden color, really dark. This should take about 5 to 10 minutes. You're going to wanna watch it. This here is going to be a little bit harder because the color of my inside of my pan is already a copper color. So it's going to be hard to find out what color you're looking for, but you're going to be looking for a nice golden color, almost looking like a burnt orange kind of color is what you're going to be looking for. And that's when you know your caramel is ready. So this is going to take about 5-6 minutes, hopefully not too long. I'm going to crank up my heat on my stove just to get it a little bit hotter for these purposes. Remember, you're not going to want to go anything too crazy. You don't want to get too deep of a color. This is the beginning part on how to make candy. Caramel is part of the candy recipe. So this is exactly the same way if we were making candy. And hopefully someday, maybe an in-person Campuga, we'll learn how to make some candy from scratch. So here we got a little bit of simmering on the edges. Because I don't want it to burn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my holder, my saute handle. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to mix this up a little bit and then I'm going to put it back down. Again, I do never want to use a spoon or a spatula on this because as soon as I start using that friction on here, I am going to create the friction which will create the sugar crystals and burn my sugar quicker than it needs to. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this simmer. It's gonna get like a light boil, and then it's gonna start turning colors. That's when the caramelization starts. Again, for what I'm doing, I probably could have done half a recipe. I don't need to do the full recipe, but I don't want to alter it too much from what you guys are doing. So I want to make sure we're doing the same exact thing. So if you're smelling this, oh, the smell, it smells like candy. It's so good. So as you can see, there's a lot of sugar kind of like on the edges. What you're going to want to do carefully, parents, is this is where you're going to want to help. You're going to just want to mix your pan side to side so you can gather the sugar around the pan. Also remember, this is going to be really, really hot. So parents, this is where you're going to want to step in and help your kiddos make this caramel, liquid caramel sauce for your flan. This caramel recipe you can also use in plenty other different desserts as like a kind of like a dressing, or you would do it as a little liquefied sauce for your dessert. So liquid caramel can be used for many things. Another good thing to use this liquid caramel would be for like cheesecake. So if you do a swirl cheesecake, which we have done cheesecake on the channel before, you can do a caramel drizzle, and this is exactly how you would make it. So if you notice, the sugar is getting a lot thicker. That's what you're looking for. It's not so liquidy no more. That is starting to thicken up. The sugar is starting to melt. It's starting to break down and make into that caramel sauce. Is exactly what you're looking for. So within time, you're gonna start seeing the color change. Hopefully it happens here soon, so you can start seeing what it's gonna look like. Parents, I know you're kind of scared about this getting hard and getting harder to remove from the pan. Just know that if I were to, after I use this, I throw some water in here, not throw, but if I put some water in here and cook the water down, the water is going to help all the residue from that caramel cook down, and then it's an easy, clean pan for you. So don't think that this is going to ruin your pan. It's not. You can just throw some water in here and it'll help you remove the caramelization from the pan. So my oven is ready. Again, set your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna take about 45 minutes to cook your flan, but you always wanted to preheat your oven before you put it in there, before you put anything in there. I personally already set my pan in there with water. Let me go ahead and open that so you can see. Move you back. So what I went ahead and did is I already stick my pan in there. It has some water in there already that it's warming up. Half the sheet pan has water in it already, so that I don't have to worry about later on going back and trying to put water in my sheet pan, or juggling with my sheet pan with the water and all my flan in there and then drop anything. So I preset that already, so I can go ahead and drop in my flan and it's already ready. Alrighty, so I'm starting to see a very, very, very light brown. I'm gonna let this keep going a little bit and continue to talk to you guys until that is pretty much ready to go. So I'm super, super excited. Campuga has grown so much in the last, not even, 9 months. Campuga is only 9 months old, so it's grown so much. We've gone from, at the beginning, 20 followers. We went into about 200 followers, and then we grew to about 500 after it came out on the news. And then now that Facebook Global has posted it, we have reached almost 1,000 followers. So that is great. We will continue doing live. The goal out of this whole thing, for those of you who kind of like, well, what's the goal out of here? The goal is to possibly one day get a culinary school and have kid cooking classes on hand. So that is the goal right now. Right now I'm a teacher. For those of you who don't know, I am a culinary teacher for a local high school here in El Paso. And I absolutely love it. But what I hate the most out of it is a lot of these kids are afraid to go into that next step into college to really see what the culinary world is like. So my goal is to open one day a culinary university. On top of that, and probably the start of my culinary university, is going to be a cooking school for kids. Kind of like what Campuga is right now. It's a cooking school for kids virtually. But I would love to make it into like an after school program or a summer camp where it's an actual location, and then you get to go and you get a little certificate out of it, and you take some courses to learn how to cook like a kid, and then that'll get you started. Either a fun activity for you to do, or something to do after school, or actually a career that you're interested in and someday you will actually want to do. So we are getting a nice tan color, which is great. I'm gonna keep mixing it like this. I'm not gonna use a spoon. It is already a tinted brown, which is a tinted amber color, kind of like that golden color. So I'm gonna let it keep cooking down until after it starts turning color, it turns color pretty quick after that. And you can see already, the difference in the color of that is different from where it started. Again, you are looking for that golden color. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get probably a spoon, a wooden spoon, so that I can show you the different color when it's actually ready. And of course, this isn't going to help any because it is the same color that pretty much what I'm looking for. But I will gather and pour it so you can kind of see the color through the liquid that it is doing. So if you can already see it, it is a nice golden color. I'm going to keep cooking it down until it turns into that nice golden amber color. Amber would be like a gold, a burnt orange color. That's what we're looking for, parents. Please don't touch this with your hands. Try to keep as much distance from this. It's not going to pop back at you, but it is hot caramel. You have to remember that when caramel is made, it is super, super hot. This thing can reach up to 350 degrees, practically even more. It is really, really hot, so it can burn you instantly, and it can pierce through your skin pretty much. So we're going to want to be as careful as we can with this. As you can see, it is beautiful color. Oh my gosh, if you guys, I wish you could see the color. It is beautiful. So I'm gonna cook it down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to show you what the color looks like. I am not gonna stick my spoon in here and start aggravating it because it is going to create those crystals that I don't want. The reason I don't want those crystals to make form is because if I were to pour this into the cake pan, or the ramekins is the word I was looking for, into the ramekin, it's going to harden, and then when it cooks and then it cools, it's gonna re-harden, and it's not gonna pour out that flan texture that we're looking for. We want a liquefied caramel. So if I start aggravating it with a spoon, I'm gonna create those crystals. Those crystals are gonna then harden, and then I'm not gonna get the actual recipe that I'm looking for. So you will get your liquefied caramel just by letting it do its thing. Don't start trying to aggravate and mix and all of that. It is gonna do it on its own. So we're getting to that amber color, which is great. We're getting it, the color we need is on this side, and it's not all over here yet. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna give a little mix. It is gonna smell kind of burnt, but it's not. It's just that smell that you're getting. It's kind of like a, what would you call this smell? Like a burnt camel, but it's not burnt. I mean, it's a beautiful color. It's still nice and liquefied. I'm probably gonna go another 2-3 minutes just so that I can change its last color. It is an amber golden color here. I'm gonna go a little bit further to, you would think it probably looks burnt, the really dark amber color, really dark gold, but that closer to the liquefied caramel that we're looking for. Here we go. I don't know if you guys can see. I mean, that color is very hard. Let me actually turn on some lights here. Maybe it'll help. So you can kind of see that color. It's a really golden color. See that? It's a really, I don't want to aggravate it too much because I don't want to create those crystals, but it's a really golden color. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful amber color. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to turn off my stove. You can tell on the edges it is going to start burning, but it's okay. This is exactly the color we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and move this over onto my ramekins. That way we can pour it in there, and then we can move forward with the next step. So let me move this off the stove because it's going to continue to cook there. Let me move you all back, and then we'll go into our ramekins to show you what's next, the next step. All right, let me go ahead and grab that so we can move on to the next step, and you can see that true color of that caramel. Alrighty, so this is the true, it smells burned, but it's so good. So this is the true color of the caramel. Let me move back a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit of caramel on the bottom of each of my ramekins. If you were doing it on a cake pan, you would be putting it on the bottom of the cake pan. Just like that. Remember, parents, this is where you need to help your kiddos. This is not caramel that you want them to touch. This is the part where you are gonna have to step in and help. It is that beautiful golden color. So let me try to see. It's dark, but it is a beautiful caramel, which is great. You're gonna go ahead and set these aside, and then we're gonna move on. You guys are a little crooked. We're gonna move on to our next step. So I'm gonna put those aside. Again, I'm only doing 4 flan. If you are doing a 6-inch or an 8-inch pan, you are more than welcome to throw that whole thing in there, and then just kind of maneuver it so it touches all the edges of that pan. And then we're gonna move on to this next step. All right, so what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna go ahead and open all of your cans, which I have 2 evaporated and 1 condensed milk. So I'm gonna open up those cans. This recipe is truly, I would say, a supervised recipe, but it is a kid-friendly recipe. So you can have your kiddo kind of help you open up the cans. You can have your kiddo pour them in. You can have your kiddo mix it. Probably the only part of it is the caramel that you would need to be there to watch them with and helping them putting it into the oven. So let's go ahead and grab my second one. Alrighty, so I have my second one here. There we go. God, that caramel smells wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. If you're a chef like myself or just a foodie in itself, you tend to like all of these rich smells, which is really good. So what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna put a tablespoon of vanilla. Just like that. Let me go ahead and close that up. And then I'm gonna open my sweetened condensed milk. This stuff is too good to be true. There are so many things that you can do with leche. This is just the beginning. We've made cheesecake with leche. There's plenty of different things you can do with leche, so it's really cool. So this is 1 can of leche. Let me go ahead and grab that spoon. You make sure you get everything out. You don't want to leave anything behind. This is where your kiddo can kind of lick the spoon, or you parents can lick the spoon. This is great, great stuff. Don't leave anything out. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add half a cup of sugar. I already had mine measured out. And then we have 6 whole eggs that we're gonna add into this. Just like that. Okay, now what we're gonna go ahead and do is, I just can't stop. We're gonna go ahead and mix this milk together. So you're gonna put it at a low speed and you're gonna wanna mix for about 1 to 2 minutes to kind of really incorporate everything. Alrighty. Once you have everything mixed here, what you're gonna wanna go ahead and do, before you try to pour this into your flan containers, your ramekins, I'm gonna go ahead and grab that pan that I was telling you about that you're gonna wanna do either before or put it already into your oven. So it makes it a little bit easier for you. Alrighty, so I have my pan here. I have a sheet pan here. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is I am going to, super cool, look at that caramel has already set up, which is great. That's what you're looking for. I am going to put my caramel in my sheet tray like this. And then I'm gonna pour my flan mixture into each individually one. The reason I'm gonna have this in the sheet tray like this is because I am gonna fill the sheet tray probably about half up into the pan with water. And what it's gonna do is that steam is gonna help cook that custard to make it a great, great custard. I already have my sheet tray with my water. That's the way I recommend to do it so that I'm not juggling, trying to make sure I can open the oven, blah, blah, blah. You guys have kiddos, I don't, to kind of do this. So I suggest either do it like this, pour your mixture in here and then stick it in, or have one already with water in the oven when it was preheating. That way you can just drop your pan in there or drop your ramekins in there to put your flan into the oven. Alrighty, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna grab this is my 1 cup measuring cup. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some of my mixture, my egg mixture or my flan mixture. I'm gonna take off the excess and I'm gonna pour this straight into my ramekin with my caramel. I would fill it probably about an inch, maybe a little bit less than an inch from the top. You are more than welcome to go all the way up. I personally don't want to make a mess, so I'm gonna fill it about, mine probably take about almost a full cup of flan in each of the ramekins. So this recipe actually can be kind of like a dual recipe. If I was doing this inverted, where the caramel would be on top, I would have a creme brulee, which is really cool. It's pretty much the same exact recipe that you're looking at. It's just an inverted, so you would just cook the custard in itself, sprinkle the sugar on top, and then burn it down. Maybe we'll go through creme brulee when we go through France or Italy. They're both really popular in both those areas. So you can see right here, I have my caramel at the bottom, and then I have my flan on top. These are gonna go into the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes. You are gonna be looking for that nice crusted over topping. You're gonna be able to stick a knife through it and it's gonna get a nice clean out. It's still gonna be jiggly, that's okay, because you are gonna cool these down. Custard does not set up fully until it is refrigerated for about an hour to 2 hours. So this is posted at 6. It should take you fairly quickly to make these. If you're gonna have dinner by 7, they should be out of the oven, and then probably after a movie, about 8 o'clock, you can take them out of the fridge, and it's a great dessert to go before bed. Again, it is really, really sweet, or you can eat these the following day. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick these into the oven, and then it's gonna take about 45 minutes, and as always, please share your pictures. Please, I know this is a simple recipe, but it turns out to be the best recipe probably we've gone over. So remember, parents, share your photos as your kiddos are doing this, showing the mixture, and then always share pictures at the end on Campuga of what you created on yours. Somebody did ask me about making Choco Flan. You would do this inverted as well. So you would do your caramel on the bottom, and then you would do your, what would you call it? Your chocolate cake batter. And then you would put your brulee sauce or your flan sauce on top of that. So it's gonna, with the weight of everything, so the caramel is the heaviest that is gonna come to the bottom. And then with the liquid, obviously if you put kind of like a cake dough in water, the cake dough is gonna rise to the top, and then the flan is gonna be right in the middle. So it'll pretty much do it all for you. We are just doing flan. We probably should have done different areas of flan, but we are just doing flan. But that's how you would do it. And we'll go over doing creme brulee as well on a different country when we decide to go over that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick these into the oven. You should be sticking yours into the oven to about 45 minutes. Make sure to post pictures. And remember, we will be doing another giveaway through the month of January. We will be also doing another 5 basket giveaway. And we'll probably be doing it in the middle of January. So make sure anybody who posts a picture of you doing it, like this video, share it, invite somebody to Campuga. Let us know in the comments and we'll go ahead and add you to that giveaway. That bowl already has everybody in there for December. We will just add on to everybody for January. So we encourage you guys to join in on making the next recipes. Remember, we have tortillas coming up next Sunday, so we appreciate it if you would join in. That one's gonna be a lot of fun, a big mess, but it's also really rewarding in the end. Remember guys, thank you for joining Campuga. I appreciate you guys, and as always, have a flavorful day. Bye guys, gotta stick these in the oven. Alrighty guys, this is what you're gonna wanna be looking for when you take out your flan from the oven. It is gonna still have a slight jiggle. See how it jiggles very slow, slightly. You can barely see it. So it jiggles very lightly. You're gonna let this cool down probably for about 30 to 45 minutes. Stick them into the fridge. And then I'll show you another video on how to pull those out. So just wanted to give you a little quick update on how they should look when they come out of the oven. You're gonna have a light jiggle. Again, they're gonna almost look like they're not, let me see if I can get it better. Like they're not ready from the center, but remember custard takes time to cool in the fridge and to set up, so it comes out perfect. Alrighty guys, what you're gonna do now that the flan has cooled and it's been in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour, you're gonna go ahead and take it out of the fridge. It's gonna be nice and set up, nice and pretty. I have a plate here. This is what I'm gonna be setting it on. So I'm gonna get a butter knife here. And what I'm gonna do with the butter knife is I'm gonna go ahead and kind of scrape the edge of whether you're gonna do it in a cake pan, in a little container like this. You're more than welcome to do it however you like. I'm gonna scrape the edges. It's gonna make it, if I use a butter knife, it's gonna make it a little messy. If I use kind of like a steak knife, I can probably, or not a steak knife, but like a paring knife, I can get a smoother edge, just depending on what you're gonna want to make it look like. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna flip the plate over like this onto it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this over like that. My flan is gonna come out of my mold. And there you go. I have my flan. Beautiful, beautiful color. I have another one right here. I have two, and I went ahead and I have two more to cut out. So this is our flan. This is exactly what it's gonna look like. You should have a nice, good caramelization on top, and then you're gonna have a nice custard on the bottom. Go ahead and try that. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and make sure to post pictures of what your flan looks like. Have a good one, guys.